What up, guys? Mad Scientist 7890 with MVP here on the RSTS Express Wrestling channel here, and we are going to talk about this interesting little Twitter war, little videos that kind of went out during WrestleMania weekend. Basically, Dean Ambrose calling out Mick Foley, saying a lot of things like, "You're the reason I have a lot of friends who are injured in wrestling. You're the reason I came up the hard way in wrestling. I injured my body. I took my career is going to be shorter because of you, because I idolized you, and you ruined a lot of careers for other wrestlers." Basically building the storyline around possibly having Dean Ambrose come in, maybe have a match with Mick Foley. And then they kind of led into this little Twitter war they were doing. And basically just, Ambrose said something about Mick Foley's kids, and then Mick Foley basically came out and said, "No, we were going to do this, blah, 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 this little feud." And then he said something about my kids, the golden rule, don't say anything about my family or my kids. That's the one thing I wanted, and you went and did it. Ambrose.
So now he can't trust him in the ring.
Yeah.
He might give him a concussion in the ring now because he talked bad about his family or his
Ambrose,
kids or something.
He can't be trusted because he may give him a concussion or injure him in the ring. Mick Foley saying that.
LOL.
Yeah, and basically we're thinking, okay, is this a work or is this a shoot? I think this is a complete work. I don't see. Come on, Mick Foley, really? Mick Foley will do anything or will say anything about anybody for a good feud. He's always been one of those guys. He's always, been one of those guys, and even if that's the case where he's not said anything about his kids, who cares? You're not a wrestler anymore. You don't wrestle that much. It shouldn't bother you that much. I could see how it would, but to me personally,
he needs to grow up. He's like 40.
Yeah, it just seems
if it was true, he would need to grow up.
The one person I could see Mick Foley really wanting to get over, a lot of the old vets of the business want to get Dean Ambrose over, big time.
And that's the thing. Here's why I honestly think it might be an actual shoot. If you read Mick Foley's blog entry about it, he talked about he actually talked about insider terms. He was sometimes it gets real, this business is a fake thing, and you got to be able to trust someone not to injure you. So obviously he's saying that the business is fake, and you have to trust the competitor you're working with. So he's not, to throw that into the feud would seem silly. Would you not agree that would seem silly to say, hey, it's a fake thing, but we're going to go out and have this really this hatred-filled feud? That to me seems silly. Secondly, he talks about all these people wanting to build Dean Ambrose up, and he was one of those guys, and he's like, well, if everyone's really high on Dean Ambrose, why don't you guys build him up? Good luck with that. He threw it off to the side. He's like, I'm not going to be the one to build up Dean Ambrose for you guys, even though you all want me to. You all want him to, you do it yourself. But then part of me thinks it's an actual work, is then Dean Ambrose replied oh, I don't give a crap. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all that Mick Foley's mad at me for whatever I said. I meant everything I said. So I'm leaning on the fence on this. I think it's a pretty big topic. I just, Mick Foley, if he did, I'm not gonna lie, he's a conniving bastard if he got me, because his blog seemed pretty fucking real.
And I think that's one thing they're really trying to put over a lot now in WWE is they want to make these kind of feuds the online type things where they're going back and forth. They want to make them seem real and not shooted. They really that's what I think. I don't see this as a shoot.
But see, that's the thing. They kill the real. I just want to say they kill the realism by saying that it's obviously a fake work sport. He's shooting on the business, saying it's fake, which is hurting. Everyone knows the business is fake, but it's hurting the business nonetheless by saying, hey, this is not really a hatred-filled feud. I don't really hate Dean Ambrose, or I didn't, but I can't trust him now. He betrayed my trust, so now I can't work with him in the ring. When you say when I can't work with him in the ring, that makes the entire thing just sound phony. There's no more realism to it anymore. If you're bringing in realism, that takes all of the realism away completely.
Well,
and that's why
I don't really
think
it does.
It was really funny when he threw that in there.
You're thinking at it from a different perspective. You got to look at it also from where wrestling is at now. As a wrestling fan, as me and you and a lot of fans who are hardcore fans, who the reason that they would want to do this feud is because hardcore fans like me and you, not hardcore wrestling fans, just hardcore just fans of the business and everything, the aspect. People are like, yeah, Dean Ambrose versus Mick Foley, that's us. We're yeah, that's an interesting feud right there. We already know the behind the scenes spiel of the whole business. We know work shoots. We know this. We never know if they're true or fake. But we know we have that thought in our head. Was that real, or was that a fake thing, or was this And I think here Foley and Ambrose both know. Okay, maybe the fans and the internet fans and everyone knows stuff before it's going to happen. I mean, let's not pretend here. Let's make this seem legit, and let's say this so people think that we are legitimately real, because fans like us don't believe shit anymore because we know everything that they're going to do. So this seems like this would be like a last ton of straw where they would be like, okay, we have to say this kind of stuff about the business and blah blah blah. But it wouldn't really hurt my feelings if they don't have a feud. I know Foley can't probably go very much anymore. Ambrose I don't think it's going to hurt his career. I don't think it's going to do anything to bother him whatsoever. He is going to be a major superstar, a major player in this business in the next couple of years. And
well, let me counterpoint your claim though, because I see where you are on this, but let me make a counterpoint. They cannot incorporate this blog into their actual feud if they actually have a feud now, because still, to your mainstream audience, like, you don't want to let known, like, hey, this is a fake thing. Like, Vince McMahon's never going to come out, like, in the ring and be like, hey, it's all fake, have a good show. Which means you can't incorporate the blog. He could have said, hey, I don't want to wrestle Dean Ambrose. I think he's violent. I think he's dangerous in the ring. I don't want to fight him. And make it seem, believable as it's a real thing. He said, I don't want to work with him because I don't trust him, to not give me a concussion, which... If you believe in Dean Ambrose's character, Dean Ambrose would want to be giving Mick Foley concussions for making his friends like do death matches and stuff because they saw Mick Foley and they saw Mick Foley became famous and stuff. Dean Ambrose would want to hurt Mick Foley. So the thing is, the perfect launching pad could have been this little blog. They could have brought up this blog on WWE, on TV, on everything. They could have been like, look, Mick Foley, he's scared of Dean Ambrose. He says he doesn't want to face him, doesn't want to come back. Now they can't do that because he's already basically said, hey, the business is fake. I don't want to work with him because he's ruined my trust. I'm worried over trust issues.
Now, also,
him taking care of me.
The only thing that makes me kind of think that, like, okay, he may be kind of, okay, he lost, if that is the truth, he lost kind of some faith in maybe Mick Foley, like, behind the scenes to help him get to where he needs to be. The last episode of FCW, I don't know if it was recently taped or it was taped before this Mick Foley whole deal was going down. I'm not quite sure. But afterwards, he wins the match, and then afterwards, or I think he either wins or loses. I can't remember. I didn't really watch the whole match. I just fast forward to the finish because I heard that he cuts a promo, and it's cutting a promo and talking about Regal and stuff, and cuts the best promo he's cut in FCW, and one of the best promos I think he's cut probably ever. It's like a 2.5 minute promo. Like, he's just like breathing heavy, and if you haven't seen it, you need to go check it out. But basically cuts this just outstanding.
It's probably definitely better than Cassius. Oh no.
Well, that doesn't really. But yeah, this cuts
I love Chris here. I love Chris.
one of the better promos I've seen in FCW done probably ever backstage, and it just seemed like maybe he thought he might have been a little bit worried, so he had to pull out just a fabulous promo. But that's just me. But interesting topic here with this whole situation going on with Mick Foley and Dean Ambrose. I could care less if Mick Foley comes back or not. I don't really think.
Me too. Supposedly now he's going to put over Ziggler or The Miz if he comes back. That's what he said. Which I would love for him to put over Ziggler. Ziggler needs all the help he can get.
Yeah.
With his flamboyant pink shirts and metrosexual personality, just ruining the perfect gimmick.
I think what would have made the most sense if it would have all came to fruition and made sense if Edge didn't have to retire. I think Edge putting over Ambrose coming in would have been a good move, but Edge is obviously not there. I really can't think
see that.
I really can't think of anybody else in maybe Randy Orton, maybe for Ambrose, maybe getting him over.
No, you think they're going to get... Dude, obviously R-Truth, man. R-Truth drops to the new guys now.
Obviously.
I don't know.
So
I mean, I think it's got to be an interesting storyline. I think you know what? I think, and you're going to say how it's not going to work. I think Ambrose and Punk would be a great storyline. They could build something perfect off that. Or even Ambrose and Jericho. Have Ambrose come in as Jericho's lackey in the Punk feud. Then when Jericho leaves, have Ambrose a Punk feud. It basically goes back to when Jimmy Jacobs was feuding with Brian Kendrick and Ambrose with his lackey. That would just introduce Ambrose some way as Jericho's lackey. He'd get over better than Wade Barrett.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I guess let us know what you guys think about this Ambrose Mick Foley debacle here. Yeah, just interesting stuff going on here. If you guys think it's a work or a shoot, but we're gonna get out of here. MVP Shear. I am the Mad Scientist 7A90. This is the RSTS Express Wrestling Channel. We're gonna get out of here. Deuces.